Hey you guys, it's Sarah here and welcome to my channel. In this video, I want to show you how I make this really cute fox and mama fox and baby fox animal page for children's busy books. And it comes with this awesome orange fur for that bushy foxtail, and the little baby fox can kiss the mama, can get tucked behind her, and everything stays attached with a string or some suede cord. And I've just made 12 sets here, or I'm about to make 12 sets. I'm going to show you how I make my final set here. But it took me 3 hours to make 12 full sets of these. Here they are there. There's the background that I used. And so basically that works out to I can make 4 of these in 1 hour, and each page cost me about $3 in materials to make. Let me go ahead and show you what I do. I start with laying on the mama fox body in place, and I'm just using this cutout of the tail to kind of figure out where I want to place it. I want to make sure that I have enough room to cut out that tail shape and then sew on the fox fur. So I'm going to start by sewing on the mama fox's body. I'm going to leave her head and back part open though, so you can see I start the stitch at the end of her back, I go all the way around, and then I'm going to stop at the top of her ear, so that I leave the top part open so that the baby fox can kind of snuggle in behind her. So here's what it should look like. You can see the white thread all the way stitched around there, and then kind of like a pocket is the top there. Next, I'm going to take the cutout of the tail, which I did cut out with my Cricut, and that is included in the template. And I'm going to just trace that out using a marker, and I'm going to cut that shape out on the page of my 8" by 8" felt. Now that that's cut out, I'm going to grab my beautiful orange faux fox fur, and I'm going to cut out a piece big enough to cover that area. And I'm going to be pretty generous because I don't want to accidentally cut this piece too small. If I do that, I'm going to have to cut a new piece. So I'm going to cut that piece out, and I'm going to be sewing that behind the page where that tail is. Once that's finished, I'm going to do my least favorite part of this activity, and I'm going to cut off all of that excess fur. The reason this is my least favorite part is because it gets really messy and it gets fur everywhere. I normally would do this part outside, but I'm in Canada and it's freezing cold outside right now, and I really don't want to go out there, so I'm going to trim it. And I'm just going to brush off the fur as best I can. Later I'll get my lint roller out and get all the little fur pieces off. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to get the other 2 little copies of the little fox, and I'm going to hot glue in between them a piece of suede cord, or you can just use any type of string. I am going to sew around all of the edges, so I'm being careful not to put hot glue anywhere around the edges, because if you try to sew through hot glue, it will ruin your needle. But before I do that edge, I'm going to just tuck in between them the fox's tail, so that when I sew around the edge, it also sews on that foxtail. Next, I'm going to get another 8" by 8" sheet of felt. I'm just using a green color sheet of felt, and I've wrapped it in this really cute fox themed fabric. I've just folded it at the corners, used some fabric clips to hold it in place. And I'm going to take the other end of that white suede cord, and I'm going to hot glue it onto the back of the page. Again, avoiding any edges where I will be sewing around the border. I don't want to sew in a spot that's been hot glued. And I'm just going to glue it to that back side piece of felt. And this is optional, like you don't have to keep it attached to the page. I always like to attach things with suede cords just so that everything stays attached and nothing can get lost. And that's going to be glued in there. And then I'm going to use this really thick 3mm felt. I've just freehand cut this out using my scalloped edged fabric scissors, and I'm going to tuck that in between the front and back page, and I'm going to sew around the whole border. If you're new to my channel, this is how I make my busy book activity pages. I just make them single-sided, and then I will often have a cute fabric on the back side. Just because when I sell these pages at craft shows, I let people pick and choose what pages they like, and I assemble them into a book. on the spot. I connect them with binder rings, and so that's why this is only a one-sided page and there's no activity on the back. You can see here that I just use my heavy duty hole punch to put 2 holes in that binding piece, and those holes are what allow me to connect different pages together with binder rings. Here's a quick little example of a book that I have, and those are the binder rings that I use, and so you can see all those binding pieces have those holes in them, and so that allows me to connect them on the spot when I'm selling them at craft shows. Last but not least, I'm going to hot glue on all of the features of the fox faces. They're both the exact same except for the baby fox has a smaller white portion, but their eyes and their nose are both the same. And here's how the page turned out. I think it's so cute. It's got that sensory aspect to it with the little fox fur that you can pet, and then the baby fox and the mama fox. You can tuck them in behind the mama. You can play with them. They can kiss, they can cuddle, and it's just a really cute page. If you're interested in the template, I do have the bulk template that I use to cut out multiple sets at once. That will be exclusively available on my Patreon. So if you want to cut this out on your cutting machine and you want to make them in bulk, make sure you check out my Patreon. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I will see you in the next one.